What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Hope you're doing well, feeling great, and enjoying freedom. It's a great day to have a great day. Today, I want to talk about 3 things I would do differently when it comes to money, when it comes to financial decisions, if I can go back in time to being 18 years old. We're going to get into it, but really quick, just in case you're new, make sure to subscribe for daily videos. Subscribe to my second channel for weekly videos. Get yourself some DYDSS merchandise to help support the channel. Try out some G Fuel Energy Formula, $5 off your first order by clicking the link in the description. And of course, make sure to go and get your up to 12 free fractional shares by downloading Webull and funding your account. For every friend you refer, they're going to give you even more free fractional shares. Don't pass up on an opportunity. Webull, link in the description. All right, so today I want to talk about what I would tell my 18-year-old self, what I would do or what I would say if I can hit the rewind button and go back to being 18. What would I do differently? Now, it all really boils down to, like, here's the simplified version. I would do everything that I'm doing today, but I would have started it when I was 18. Probably a simple, boring way of explaining it. Hindsight is 20/20, and I think many of us would probably say the same thing. But to get into the more specifics, I have 3 different categories I want to talk about. Number 1, saving more money. 2, investing more money. And 3, the first 2 wouldn't be possible without this one, making more money. 3 pieces of advice I would give to my 18-year-old self, starting with saving more money, because I can go in this direction, or I can go in a couple different directions with this particular category when it comes to saving more money. Number 1, first and foremost, I would eliminate spending on non-essentials. It's kind of hard to say to an 18-year-old. I know if somebody told me when I was 18, hey, you probably should be saving more money, or hey, you should spend a little bit less money on this, I would have said, hey, screw you, just for that I'm going to spend twice as much. I was never really much of a spender to begin with, but when you're 18 and you first start working, you first get a job, you're making money for the first time, it's exciting. Like, you've never experienced that before. You know, you have a paycheck coming in every week. I didn't get paid to go to high school, and I was miserable there 40 hours a week. Now I'm 40 hours a week over here, and I'm getting paid to be miserable. This is great. I remember being 18. And yes, I was frugal, but I was still spending on non-essentials. I didn't really know any other way to go. So I would cut down or eliminate altogether spending on non-essentials. But more importantly, not just about spending less money, I would make sure that while I'm researching different markets, like for example, the precious metal market, we got some silver and gold on display, while I research the real estate market or the stock market or how to go about starting and operating a home-based business, I would put my cash, I would put a majority of my paychecks into a high-yield savings account. Now, generally speaking, I'm not a fan of savings accounts at the bank. It's not something that I necessarily really believe in, especially not for the long term, but for the short term, while you're learning, while you're beginning to understand and figure out where your money should go and what makes the most sense to you, while you're figuring these things out, why not earn a little bit of interest on the money that's sitting there waiting for you to take and invest? So that's another way I would go about saving money. The high yield savings account I'm using right now offers me between 3.25% and 3.5%. I don't know what the interest rates were when I was 18 or what they will be in the future. I have no idea, but I would pick a high yield savings account and store my cash in there while I learn about the different markets and figure out which one makes the most sense for me, and while I figure out what my lane is. Another way I would go about saving money is by giving myself a discount on the necessary expenses. Like I said before, I would eliminate the non-essentials, but as for the essentials, I would give myself a discount. And I would do this with cashback credit cards. Now, I wouldn't tell my 18-year-old self to go and get a whole bunch of them, kind of like I have today, but when you're 18, it's not a half bad idea to start building your credit. That'll really come in handy later down the road, especially when you have a high enough credit score to get the lowest possible interest rates when you're going to get ready to go and buy a house, let's just say. That's another way of saving money, by the way, saving money on interest. But I would use cashback credit cards to save as much as I can on groceries or just things that I need, the essentials. For example, the credit card I would tell my 18-year-old self to go and apply for, and by the way, get approved for, because this is a lot of people's first credit card ever. It's very easy to get approved for it. It would be the Discover It cashback card. I've been talking about this card for years. This is one of my favorite credit cards that I have. The cool thing about this credit card is it gives you 5% back on rotating quarterly categories. So the category that we're in right now for Q1 2023, grocery stores, 5% back on food you got to buy anyway. You're already going to spend the money. Why not give yourself a 5% discount? Might not sound like very much, but over the course of the entire first quarter of the year, it adds up. And you can get all the way up to $75 back if you spend up to $1,500 on the card. I don't know what the next quarter is going to be, but based on past quarters, we've had 5% back on restaurants, 5% back at gas stations, 5% back on eBay and Amazon purchases. So if you're going to go and buy some coins online or some prepping supplies or car parts or clothes or whatever you need on these websites, 5% back, a 5% discount. And I would rake in all of that cash back. And I would probably throw it into that high yield savings account while I continue learning about the different markets so that I make the right decision and I could take all that money out and throw it into whatever I want to do. So if you do not have the Discover It cashback card and you want it, I will leave a link in the description. I'm not sponsored. This is just a card that I'm just quite honestly a massive fan of. If you use my link, you apply and get approved, you and I will each get a $100 statement credit. And like I said, 5% back on rotating quarterly categories. And if it's your first year with the card, they actually match all of your cash back at the end of your first year. Not a calendar year, your first 365 days, they match it all. So all that 5% back that you were getting turns into 10% back during your first year. Life hack, save money, no annual fee. So moving away from saving money, now I want to talk very quickly about investing money. While I spent all this time when I was 18 saving up as much as I can, making as much as I can, sticking it in a high yield savings account, spending less on non-essentials, getting cash back on the essentials, and when I finally figure it out, when I finally understand which market makes the most sense to me, which one I'm the most fascinated in, which one I understand the best, what I would then do is I would begin to invest my money. And there's a couple of different ways you can go. There's a lot of different ways you can go. Business, stocks, real estate. I don't really consider precious metals to be a form of investing, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to include it right here. I would tell my 18-year-old self to go and get some coins. I wouldn't say to go and become a full-time hardcore precious metal stacker by any means. Absolutely not. I would, however, tell my 18-year-old self to go and get some coins. Just go and get a few every once in a while. Just pick up a couple coins. You don't have to be super into it. It doesn't have to be something that you are fully involved in. It doesn't have to be something that you are obsessed with by any means. It doesn't even really have to be a hobby of yours. But I do think it's a good idea, or I do believe it would be a good idea to tell my 18-year-old self to go and get a couple of coins every now and then. Just get a couple. Just get a few. Just go and get a handful of coins every now and then. It'll add up over time, and it'll appreciate in value. What's the worst that can happen? You end up with a bunch of coins that, without a doubt, will always be worth something. And on top of that, you can learn a lot just by stacking. I would tell my 18-year-old self, it might not sound all that, exciting right now, but if you go and get a coin, let's just say it's 1938 something, some coin from 1938, let's just say, or 1942, or 1898, whatever. You can go and research what happened that year. What was taking place during that time? What war was going on during that time? Who was the president during that time? What was happening in this country at that time? What was the price of a house back then? A gallon of milk back then? You can learn a lot about history. Not just U.S. history, but world history. While simultaneously saving money in a unique way, which some people can consider an investment. I personally don't, but the precious metals do appreciate in value over time. That's one thing I would tell my 18-year-old self. Another thing I would tell my 18-year-old self is to begin investing. And when I say investing, I mean actually investing. Like I said, I don't really consider silver and gold to be investing, but I would tell my 18-year-old self to begin actually investing. And I would say start with broad market index funds like the S&P 500, for example. You do not need to dump your life savings into the stock market. You do not need to invest a certain amount of money every single month or day or week or year or whatever, but begin dabbling every now and then. Maybe throw $100 into the S&P 500. It doesn't have to be on a regular basis, but get started. I would tell my 18-year-old self, the best way you could probably go about doing this is by doing it with a Roth IRA. That way it's a tax-free event when you're older and ready to retire. You can cash out, take all of those gains and all of those dividends and distributions that were paid out within this Roth IRA tax-free. And you can just ride off into the sunset if that's what you want. That's what I would tell my 18-year-old self. Begin stacking a little bit of silver and gold. Begin investing in broad market index funds. And one way you can go about investing in broad market index funds or just random stocks, whatever direction you choose to go in, whether you want to have a regular account or a Roth IRA, whatever it is that you want to do, you can do so on the Webull app. I mentioned it in the beginning of the video. Just by downloading the app and funding your account, they're going to give you up to 12 free fractional shares just for doing so. And for every friend you refer, they're going to give you even more free fractional shares. If you don't want the free stocks, go and get them anyway. They're free. Take them, sell them. Congratulations. Now you have the cash to go and get you some silver and gold if that's what you want, or something else. It's yours to do what you want with. Webull link in the description. Don't pass up on an opportunity. So moving away from saving money, which we already moved away from, moving away from investing money, I now want to talk about making more money. What I would tell my 18-year-old self and the direction I would steer myself in to make more money. First thing I would say is that you got to be more courageous and take more initiative. Now, my 18-year-old self, I'm just speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for everybody out there and what they were like when they were 18. When I was 18, I was not lazy. I was not unmotivated. I was not someone that preferred to sit around. But for whatever reason, when I was 18, I did not strive to climb up the ladder at the jobs I was working at the time. My first couple of jobs, I was, I guess you can say, complacent with where I was at. I didn't want to step up or put my hand up and say, I'll do it. I didn't want to go for the promotion because for whatever reason, I guess my 18-year-old self, and maybe that's the reason right there, it's because I was 18, I didn't really know any better. I don't think you're really going to understand all about the working world until you're probably closer to 25. When you're 18, fresh out of high school, you're not going to understand it. You have no skin in the game, and that's why I would tell my 18-year-old self, and I would say, go for the promotion. The promotion comes with a pay raise. My logic back then was I didn't want to take on additional responsibility at a place that I already didn't want to be at in the first place. I wanted to be there enough to get paid, but I didn't want to be there enough to take on a leadership role. I didn't want to be a manager or even assistant manager. I didn't want to strive for more at that particular place. I knew what I wanted at the end of the day. I had an ultimate goal, but when I was 18, I had no vehicle to get there, and I had no idea what steps to take. And I failed to realize that if I had just gone for a promotion, or when I was working a part-time job, and if I had just applied for full-time, it would have been the same thing, but with a little bit more money attached. Something else I would tell my 18-year-old self is to start a side hustle. You know, I didn't even plan this for the video, but what I would have told my 18-year-old self, now that I think about it, is, hey, start that friggin' YouTube channel today. But in addition to that, I would start developing skills, real world skills that matter. When I was 18, I didn't know what my skills were. When I was 18, I didn't even know what my talents were. I didn't know what I was naturally good at, and I didn't know where I could improve. I would have encouraged myself to, start learning more about marketing and sales. It'll take you so friggin' far. I would tell myself, my 18-year-old self, Develop the skills, work on the skills, build the skills. They will come in handy. Real skills, solid skills, mandatory skills, where a lot of other people are falling short. I would tell my 18-year-old self that right there. I would say, learn more, become more, apply yourself more, take more initiative, be more courageous, go for that promotion, go for that higher paying job, go for that pay raise, go for the full-time position, go for the development of skills, become a well-rounded individual with valuable skills, and start a side hustle based on those skills. Make some money on the side in addition to your job. Let that side hustle eventually become your main hustle. And now that you're taking all the steps in the right direction, you're making more money. And now that you're making more money, we can go back to steps 1 and 2, like I mentioned earlier in the video. Making more money, now you have more money to save. Now that you have more money to save, you have more money to invest. And the cycle continues. Imagine starting all of that when you were 18 years old. I wish I did half of those things when I was 18. Sure, I was working hard. Sure, I wasn't spending recklessly. But there are so many things that I could have done differently that, quite honestly, who knows? If I had started all of these things and gone like balls to the wall at 18, who knows? I might be a millionaire right now. You never know. You never know. But anyway, coming around full circle, those are 3 things I would tell my 18-year-old self. Those are 3 things I would do differently. If I can go back in time and change some of the money moves or change some of the financial decisions I made starting at the age of 18, that right there is what I would do. Save more money, invest more money, and make more money. I want you guys to head on down in the comments and let me know anything and everything related to today's video topic. When it comes to what you would tell your 18-year-old self, what advice would you give? What direction would you steer yourself in? And by the way, it doesn't just have to be exclusive to money. It could be, hey, don't buy that expensive car. Or it could be, hey, don't marry her. It could be whatever you want. Whatever you would say to your 18-year-old self, head on down in the comments and let me know. If you guys like today's video, please hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, subscribe to my second channel, which is my backup channel for exclusive weekly content. Get yourself some DYDSS merchandise to help support the channel in the biggest possible way. Try out some G Fuel Energy Formula, $5 off your first order by clicking the link in the description. Over 50 different flavors to choose from. This one's Bahama Mama. I definitely recommend it. And of course, make sure to go and get your up to 12 free fractional shares by downloading Webull and funding your account. For every friend you refer, they're going to give you even more free fractional shares. If you don't want them, go and get them anyway. Then just sell them. Congratulations. Now you have the cash to do whatever you want with. Do not pass up on an opportunity. Webull link in the description. And I want you guys to head on down to the comments and let me know one more time, what advice would you give to your 18-year-old self? Would you tell yourself to make more money, apply yourself more, save more money, invest more money, do more with the energy that you have, do more with your youth, utilize everything that you have right now, develop new skills, work harder, go for that promotion, don't buy that car, don't propose to her, don't commit those crimes. What would you tell your 18-year-old self? Head on down to the comments and let me know anything and everything related to today's video topic. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you tomorrow. DYDSS smiling. Peace.